Property talk on the Tyne. Investment tips, stories, and exciting guests with your host, Tony Fairs.
Happy Monday, everybody. The Rightmove House Price Index for February 2025 is now out and makes interesting reading as always. So let us know in the comments your thoughts if you've had a chance to read through it yet. But if not, I'm going to give you a few of the key points that we can take away from this and that we can use in our own property investment journeys. So starting with the national asking price increases. So the average asking price for a property on Rightmove rose by 0.5%. Now that is an increase on, it's not an increase on the previous sort of expectations, which is around about the 0.8%. But again, what it's probably indicating is that sellers are a little bit cautious in how they're pricing their properties knowing they're going to market. I think we've probably got the higher interest rates to blame for that. And maybe that's meaning that sellers are reasonable with their asking prices and they're not being too optimistic. So another point that came out of there was the number of homes currently available for sale is currently at a 10-year high, providing buyers with more options and reducing the urgency to make quick purchasing decisions. Now, what I will say in regards to this is I think that is more targeted at the areas in the south where property prices are significantly higher. I don't think that we have a ready available supply of properties in the northeast right now. Demand levels are far outstripping the supply. So maybe now for the first time in probably recent history, we need to be looking more at the micro regions as opposed to, the macro, the UK in general when it comes to, the supply of property, because we know that is one of the big factors that impacts whether house prices are increasing, decreasing, or remaining the same. So I would summarise that last point as the properties in the south have a bit of an oversupply. In the areas where properties are more affordable and the demand levels are higher, maybe we don't have as good a supply. Now, stamp duty is another thing that's mentioned in the report, and they really think that the changes coming to stamp duty effective from March 31st this year, they are actually influencing market dynamics and buyers are motivated to complete their purchases before this deadline because the cost of that increased stamp duty can be really, really high. And it has actually led to quite a big bottleneck in conveyancing. So again, we're going to see a number of chains collapse if they don't complete before March 31st. And again, what I would be saying is in the month of March, property sales fall-throughs are an area where I believe you can negotiate a discount, particularly if you're a cash purchaser and you're able to complete before that March the 31st deadline. So market activity when it comes to the number of buyers or number of new sellers entering the market. So in terms of sellers, there's 13% increase in new sellers entering the market for the same period of last year and an 8% rise in buyer demand. And following on from that, there's been a 15% uptick in sales agreed. Now, this suggests that sustained confidence among both buyers and sellers is there, but I think that's something we're going to have to watch going forward, particularly as we expect the interest rates to continue to drop as we head through 2024. Now, in terms of mortgage applications, there's actually been a real surge here, and the number of buyers looking for a mortgage in principle application via Rightmove has increased by 49% on January last year, indicating that there is a lot of strong buyer intent. Now remember, that's just approved for mortgages. That doesn't mean they've actually gone through and purchased a property. Now, in terms of the regional property price trends, I think we're seeing a number of different things in the report. And that, we look, for example, at the region. I think maybe the price increases month on month maybe weren't as good as what they have been previously. But again, still saw a year-on-year increase for the northeast of around about 3%. Again, we're typically seeing lower property priced regions are outperforming those with higher property prices. Again, comes back to the cost of borrowing at the moment with high interest rates, cost of living crisis, people wanting to, monitor their spending a little bit more now. So again, I think that's evident in the data that we're seeing there. Now, what we are seeing from Rightmove is they're suggesting that February and March are to be identified as the best times to list your property for sale, with approximately 66.3% of homes listed during this month being successfully completed at a sale point. Now, what I would say in this respect is property is very seasonal. We see a lot of properties come on the market in January that are snapped up because people have got Christmas out the way, they're back to work, they've decided this is the year they're going to move. So we see a lot of flurry of activity in January. A lot of the houses that come on the market sell quite quick, and that leaves over a number of properties. But it also leaves a lot of buyers who maybe just didn't find the property that they wanted in January, who go on to make a subsequent purchase in February and March. So again, something that we see probably year on year, I would say. Now again, we've seen the interest rates drop, so they dropped from 4.75 to 4.5. I think a lot of the mortgage companies already priced that in prior to that cut. And I think the downward trend in interest rates will enhance affordability for buyers. And we should expect that to see the market just continue to pick up as the interest rates decrease over the course of a year. And again, Rightmove are forecasting a 4% increase in average asking prices by the end of 2025. And that's supported by the anticipated mortgage rate reductions and the buyer demand that's going to stem from that. So again, what I would say is, again, main takeaways from the report: areas of high property prices are really still struggling with demand because of the increased costs of borrowing. We're seeing lower priced areas where properties are more affordable, or where the investment properties appeal to first-time buyers, downsizers. We're seeing those areas still really perform very well. And I think Rightmove's overall message is, as the market continues to improve this year, that's going to be going hand in hand with interest rates decreasing. So have a look at what's on your local market, folks. See what's been listed in the last 7 to 14 days using Rightmove's filter system. Have a look how many of those properties have sold. Have a look at the prices that they're going on the market. And if you just can't make sense of any of this, then reach out. More than happy to offer a free strategy session. See if we can answer any questions that you have, whether that's you're getting into property, maybe it's time to get out, it's time to cash in on these assets, you've rode the wave up so much, or maybe you just don't know which way to turn. Drop us a message, let's get you started, and there's no time better than now to invest in property. I really believe that. So get stuck in, folks.
Property talk on the Tyne. Investment tips, stories, and exciting guests with your host, Tony Fairs.